So this is a review for the game between Bradwood and AJ Gibson. This is an equal game, so I'll only be talking about equal game moves. So let's start. Okay. As a DDK player or even SDK player, it's okay to experiment with 5-4 and 5-3 Josekis. If you can look into it enough, you can understand well about how to use it. It's just that I would prefer to make sure that you are well versed with the Josekis for all the basic ones, because they are more than you can actually think about, because the game gets very complex even with the basics. There's a reason why pro players never really use 5-4 or 5-3 that often. It's very rare to see a pro player use that. So it's still fine. You can still play this way. It just is a caution that you should kind of try to not use it as a way for like a casual play and you're just testing things out, then that's fine. But in a tournament or somewhere where you actually trying to win, then it's better to always keep things simple and solid. Yeah. So I guess the Joseki is fine. You can even play this way. This also works. So yeah, all is fine here. Your opponent chose not to play the right move, which is either this or this. We would prefer this because I would still want to keep my groups as stable of a shape, and white has peeps over here with if this stone existed over here, and then this makes this group quite painful. So yeah, just make sure that you complete the Joseki when it's done. Try not to like run to another thing and Tanuki too fast, because that's not gonna help you in the future when you are being attacked and you feel like, why did I leave this thing as it was. Okay, all here is fine. Old Joseki, that's still fine. This is a bit weird. I would prefer to maybe just enclose my group and then do this move, because then this makes sense, right? Because now most likely black would want to play something like this, and then if you jump out, you could maybe get some points over here, but it doesn't really do much. It's just influence. It's a reduction that allows you to maybe build larger scale from this wall, like make your moyo bigger. But yeah, here it feels a bit too fast. Even this would be better, just to push your opponent, build your moyo that you wanted, right? Because technically, if you count right now, you are behind on points, but you are ahead with your framework. So building your framework faster with Sente moves is going to be the more important thing. Okay, that's an exchange. This is fine. You can even threaten to push one more time because it's still Sente, right? If your opponent chooses to ignore, like something like this, then you have this double Hane, which can't be done like this, and then this is a bit too strong in my opinion as white, because now you've completely enclosed the group, right? This is fine, but I would think it's unnecessary. It's kind of like, why do you need it? If you just want to do the extension, just do it. Yes, they have this in the future, but like if you really need to block, you can block. Yeah, this is fine. This is fine as a move, but you might want to think about being further if you really do want to make points over here, but again, we're not wanting to make points, we want to make a moyo, so this is fine. And then we can try and let black see if there's a way to invade, right? Is there a way to invade here, like, efficiently? I am not terribly sure if this lives. This will depend on how you play. Okay, here, this is a weird-ish move. I mean, I guess I understand what you're trying to do, but if you actually see what can happen, yeah, you see that it starts to backfire on you, and then you will need to fight this out. Right? Yeah, this is very bad by black. I feel like you don't really understand the shape that you have created. This is a very strong and stable shape, very, very strong and stable shape, that we are going to want to incur the damage that we want to incur. So adding more stones to the shape is just terrible. The only thing that we can do from here is use it to fight, and nothing else, because it's too strong. Whenever we think about our groups, is only put stones near weak groups, never put stones near strong groups, because then the purpose of each stone becomes way lesser. It's like each stone is an investment, but it's an investment together. So the more stones you add, each stone's investment becomes less, and we want to keep each stone's investment as high as possible. Yeah, so this is, yeah, not good as black. Very, very slow move. I wouldn't even care about playing this. I might even just start the move out if I want. Just make some decent shape, push over here, maybe even enclose this if I want to, see if my opponent's willing to live, and then if they try to, you know, try to, you know, invade or try to reduce me, and then I'll just take the damage and just take my moyo, maybe even see if I can even reduce theirs. Just a idea that you need to think about. Here, this is unnecessary. You just added so many stones to this group. Why are you trying to get more eye space? Unnecessary. Let's just answer our opponent. Not every move needs to be tanuki'd. Especially in an equal game, your opponent's gonna be around the same level, so they're not gonna be way better than you have to answer everything, but they're not so bad that you need to try and find a way to tanuki everything. It needs to be relatively equal, that you are taking enough time to steal sente, and also saying to your opponent, yes, I understand your move is sente, right? So yeah. Okay, black doesn't even need to answer this, because, you know, if you do this and white connects, you can even start to jump forward and reduce this whole moyo, and this looks quite beautiful, because now you are expanding your moyo as well, right? So all unnecessary. And again, you see this shape looks so disgusting. If you really did want to fix this group, you would do it this way, you know. Here you incur the cut, maybe you can then fight it even, but you know, it can be dangerous, so it depends on how good your reading skills are. But if you can fight it, you can fight it. It's just that, yeah, this shape is very, very bad. I guess, yeah, this is fine. I might just push here, because if my opponent maybe decides to play something like this, then these kinds of moves can have more much nicer RG that black will have to deal with painfully because of the terrible shape, right? But yeah, but here, if they do this, then, you know, a cut here is, you know, looks so cool. The jump seems a bit premature, because I guess, you know, even with this kind of push keeps us squished, and I don't like taking points next to a strong wall. It looks disgusting. Your opponent attached to you and you jumped. Yeah, I would not choose to do this, mainly because this into this is problematic. You know, like, what if your opponent does this? If you're gonna cut, then are you gonna play something like this? That's not possible, so that's crazy. And then if you do this, your opponent gets to run out, and now the fight is, yes, favorable for you, but not completely terrible for black. Black can even just early cut this just to start all this nonsense, and then, you know, play this, and then it's a huge fight everywhere. It gets too messy. I don't particularly like it. Here for black, yeah, you know, like, if your opponent's making weaknesses, look to push through the weaknesses, or just focus on this, you know. Even if white comes in, it's not gonna be too terrible, because you just say, oh, okay, you destroy my moyo, I destroy your moyo, equal. Alright, here you're forcefully taking all these points, and then you see now white got to fix the shape that was not good, and you became squished, right? So again, here I would just decide to let go of any points over here, because look at the amount of investment I've made. I've gotten these points. I've gotten at least some points over here, right? So if I just want to keep just at least these points and let this go and then destroy my opponents, that would be better, because my opponent looks like he wants to make something really big, right? So that's not gonna be fun. But you decide to cut and fight, not good. White has influence. This is very weird. If we want to kill our opponent and we are strong, we still want to kill him from a bit far away. He doesn't really have anything to connect to. The only things that black could try is something like this, but you can see, right, the reason why I stayed far away is I didn't want to have any cut points that can cause my opponent to do some random things. As you can see, now that your opponent connected, look at that gaping hole that you still have. Just feels very weird. Yeah, I just don't like it at all. Okay, here I would probably play something like this, just to make this cut less devastating, because now this is Sente, right? If my opponent plays this, I can even play something like this, right? Say, oh, you know, I'm gonna go in, and then if my opponent blocks, then I can, you know, and again say, you know, I'm gonna surround you. My opponent decides to live here. You know, I got points over here, so that's all fine. I don't think I can completely reduce this, but I don't think this is too bad. This still might be relatively equal. White might be ahead by a bit. Yeah, this is not necessary. This feels like an endgame move. Again, you see, it's just points, right? It's not really any danger. Your opponent does this, just fix yourself, right? If you feel like you have something, you have a lot of something, just fix yourself, right? Why do you need to continue trying to take points? And why did your opponent not just capture this? This was so weird. What? This is completely a mistake. After this, you're supposed to connect. And then your opponent will play this, and then yes, you can capture, and then yeah, you have points here. Yeah, that's very weird. Your opponent just decided to not punish you. Oh god, this group is just in complete danger. I am not sure if this works completely. This could mean death, because of the liberty count. But maybe this can be played, but then with this, yeah, this just, yeah, looks like there's a solid chance of dying. Yeah, your opponent played the move. Yeah, going down was unnecessary. You have to see that if you play this, right, or whatever the vital point is, and your opponent crawls here, I would be very fine with them crawling. You know, and then in this situation, I'll let them crawl for however long they want to crawl, because then another group dies, right? They can't just immediately cut this, because here into this is painful and I have way too many liberties, so they can't just keep running. Okay, so yeah, your opponent does this. Okay, he cuts. I would simply, you know, protect the more important point. Just protect this. This is so weird. Oh god. Oh god. What is happening? Here I would go just connect this. If my opponent decides to go down, I'll go down as well. Here, if my opponent goes down, I think I can play this, because again this does not work. So if my opponent decides to capture this, I'll just, you know, say, you know, I took the loss, I keep it, right? This just all feels very bad. Like, you let your opponent into fighting way too many things, and yeah, just everything went to shits with this. Yeah, this is definitely not good. Yeah, there's way too much messy fights. All can be avoided if everything was just more simply connected. The main issue of this game seems to be a lot of messy things. Yeah, I guess, yeah, this all seems okay, but you also have to remember, if your group here has enough shape and eye shape that they are alive, right? And if you can confirm that this whole section is alive as well, right? The only move you need here will be something like maybe just this, and if whatever they play, you let them play out their fantasy, right? Again, none of this works, and then just find the way to Tanuki and get something else. Yeah, these are way too many moves where you're trying to secure. Again, yeah, this is unnecessary. Read if your opponent's move here is here. If you do need to answer, yes, because of moves like this, yeah, you'll need to answer, but you don't have to answer yet, right? Read before you play any move, that if it's absolutely necessary to answer, you answer. Okay. Yeah, I think at this point the game just has ended for... Oh, I guess you just didn't read this. Yeah, just connect. I don't understand the rush there is by both players to just Tanuki. Tanuki is a powerful tool, but it's like you're trying to use a screwdriver when you need to use a hacksaw. They're both tools, but they have completely different properties, right? In a situation where you have urgent moves, you need to play the urgent move, right? Why are we trying to lose points just because we want to find bigger points? Just because our opponent takes a bigger point doesn't mean that we will be losing that many points, because we still secured something that was in danger. It was urgent, right? Losing these amount of stones is about 8 points, plus our opponent captures, adding a few more stones to their side. That's more than like about 10 points. What is the next biggest move? Was this really that big compared to saving that? Something you have to think about. right? You have to be stern with yourself that if you're learning the tanuki, you're tanukiing only because you know that nothing of yours is in danger, and then you are tanukiing only because you don't want your opponent to play the next biggest move. Yeah, at this point, most of this is endgame. You lose a few points and all. And so yeah, that's mostly for the review. I would say is that Black needs to make sure that his shape is better and learn to understand why your group is strong and why your group is weak. You need to learn a bit more about shapes, right? Where you have like eye shape and all that, it gives strength to your groups, so that allows you to attack. Don't save strong stones. And for both players, please learn the idea of tanuki in the sense that, oh yeah, I tanuki because I want to play the next biggest move, because we both are fine. I cannot attack my opponent, because if you have to understand that if there's a huge move, right, but your opponent's group is weak, and you can play one move that threatens to kill your opponent's group, threatening to kill your opponent's group is always going to be humongous, unless that tanuki is bigger than how big the group is. That's the only time then you can take. That's a calculation ideology. So yeah, that's all for the review.